Welcome everyone to another episode of Align Your Mind with Jonathan and Alexa. We are so happy to have you on this Thursday for a very relevant issue that we're going to talk about today. Not necessarily an issue, but a very relevant topic, just uncertainty. Just in case you guys didn't know, yesterday was National Stress Awareness Day. And 2 days ago was, of course, Election Day here in America. And that was very it's still, no one still knows the winner. So regardless of what side you're on, you are very anxious to know a winner just because that is human nature. So Alexa and I are going to just kind of go through some of uncertainties in life and how we've been able to overcome them ourselves. Try to give you guys some tips. And if you guys can give us some tips as well, that'd be really cool. If you guys want to DM our social media, we always have that open. We love to hear from you guys. Yeah, Alexa, why don't we get into it?
All right, so like Jonathan said, with the election going on, there is added stress and added anxiety, but I feel like no matter what in this time of the year, whether it's stress about the holidays or stress about school, about midterms, about work, I feel like this could be a very stressful time in the year. So I think that this is being brought up at the right time. So Jonathan and I are just kind of going to go over some things that we do, some things that we think we should try, or maybe when you guys give us some suggestions, we can add them in our next podcast just to add to our toolbox of things to help us de-stress. But for me, my schedule has been very busy lately. I have school, I have work, maintaining as little of a social life as I can because of COVID, and just kind of focusing on what needs to be focused on. I think one thing that has helped me is either going for a walk or going to the gym, de-stressing, just kind of getting your mind off of things, just so that that you can get those things done after you get this done. Like, you have a plan. For me, when I walk or I run or whatever, I make a plan while I'm running. That way it's not like I'm wasting time. Like, I can still make a plan for my day, like what I want to do first, how I want to do it, how long I want to take to do it, just stuff like that, just to kind of let my mind breathe, but still kind of keep my nerves up so that I still know that I have to do it without being stressed out.
Yeah, I think you hit on a very good point. I feel like everyone's schedule is starting to kind of daunt them because I feel like we just had a really long time of a lot of, not a lot of work to do, but a lot of stress-free work and a lot of more time than we typically had, just because we had that big break from March to really July. But now I feel like everyone really understands the virtual system, and I feel like everyone's starting to know how to handle their surroundings more. So they're being willing to go more outside places and be more social, which of course is it's always interesting to look at. But I feel like this is causing us to be busy again, and we have to adjust to that. So personally for me, I tried to do the whole switching from my hard paper notebook of an agenda to an online agenda, and that just did not work for me. I like to write it down and I like to cross it out, which I've said multiple times, but that's one thing that I've definitely reverted back to. I started writing everything down, I started crossing things out again, and that was just a sense of relief, which I know I talked about a lot on our other podcast episodes, but that just really works for me. So I really like to share it with you guys. And then another thing is just making sure to savor the moments that we still have during this time. Because I feel like whenever we try to rush through a bunch of things, we lose the reasoning on why we even did it. And you kind of lose the whole interpretation of why you signed up for such an event or things like that. And it can be uncertain on how you deal with those things, but I feel like once you always keep the mindset of why you're doing it, it'll always prevail.
Yeah, I agree. And that's another thing that's really, really important is our mindset. In any stressful situation, you can do all of these, de-stressing techniques, and you can meditate and you can breathe, but if your mindset isn't positive, and if your mindset is constant worry and anxiety and, oh my God, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, it's not going to help you. And I've learned that the hard way throughout high school. My mindset was always very negative. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. I can't do this. I'm not going to have time to do this. And that never helped me. So one thing is obviously keeping a positive mindset, but also being realistic with your mindset, not saying I'm going to finish all my assignments in one day, because reality is you're making it harder on yourself. So by keeping a positive, realistic mindset, I think that that is something that we can all learn from and that we can all benefit from. Because even if you don't realize it, 9 times out of 10, your mindset on something may not be positive. It may be a hint of positivity, like you're going to get it done eventually, but you don't think you're going to have time. But change that around to, I'll find time to do this and I will get it done. And that way, not only is your mindset more positive, but you, yourself, have the ability to be more relaxed and more happy because you know that in your mind you're going to be able to get this done and you're being positive about it, which obviously can boost your serotonin and it can de-stress you as it is just by changing a word instead of I can't do this, I'm going to find time to do this, or I'm going to get this done. So I think that that's one of the most important things to focus on in a stressful time is your mindset and your positivity.
Yeah, I think that's really a good point. And on that segue, it just reminded me of something. Personally, I love, I'm a big fan of American politics. I've always liked to follow it ever since I was a little kid. And something that I saw different this election cycle, even though I don't remember many of them because I'm 17, but something that I saw interesting is like CNN, Fox News, and just like the major news networks during their commercial break, they said it was like a 30-second of like calming period, which I never saw done before. Usually they like to capitalize on their commercial time. But I just thought that's like really relevant because that's what we preach at Mindful Me, just to always step back when you're uncertain. I know like I was biting my nails at points of like throughout the last few weeks. And I think if once you step back and you just breathe, you remember, yeah, this is out of your control. You're going to watch, you're going to listen, and it's going to be what it is. But just know you can control some things, but it's always important to make sure you put yourself first because that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. For sure.
Yeah. But the standpoint of school, I think it's a good time to segue into that a little bit more. Uncertainty with midterms. I know they're definitely approaching fast. This year has felt extremely long, yet extremely short at the same time. Like I can swear, like I don't know what I did from March to July, but all of a sudden it's almost Christmas and it's almost the Halloween. Halloween just passed, and Thanksgiving's up this road, and it's like wow, this year went by really fast, and I think that's just the scary part.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And coming from an online college student, I can definitely say that this was not what I expected and that everything just seems like a blur so far. Like I know what I'm learning, I have the grades in the classes, but I just feel like it's all gone by so fast, yet so unbelievably slow. So I think that that's also adding to the stress because, when midterms come around, we're like, what did we even learn? And I think that that's anyone. I think I've done that in high school too. Like it's just such a blur, and then it gets to midterm day, and you're like, what is this on? So if you are in high school or if you are in college or if you're taking midterms for whatever reason, I think that the best way to help de-stress around midterm season is meditating. So as you guys know, we have our meditations on our podcast, wherever our podcasts are. We have them on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. And then we also have them on our website. So we have so many meditations to choose from. So I would say go on maybe like the week before midterms start and just do 1 to 2 every day. And or even when you start studying, if you start studying 2 weeks before midterms, a month before midterms, start your month or your week or your whatever it is with a meditation and keep it up throughout the month and see if you see a change from maybe your senior, see if you see a change from your junior year midterms to your senior year midterms stress-wise. Because I really do think that just taking a few minutes to breathe before you study can help calm your nerves so you actually retain the information. I know I've done it. I know that it helps me. So if you do it, let us know and tell us if you see a difference between the years.
Yeah, No, I think that's a really good point. And one thing I always found it hard to like meditate for like 10, 15 minutes. I've just found it like difficult because I just don't have that much concentration as of yet. I'd love to build up to that one day. But one thing that I've been finding really helpful is like the school tools we've been making. And one that I'm really excited for is we have a Mindful Me member named Michael, and he is going to a yoga studio this week, and we'll be filming like chair yoga and stuff like that. And I think that's just really cool. So I sit at a chair, not leave your desk, and be able to like kind of just de-stress before I go into one of my midterms. I know I'll definitely be doing that. Midterms and testing is something I'm not a biggest fan of, but we have to do it, so I do it. But yeah, I just think that's something because it's like 3 5 minutes, so it's just easier for me. And if you're now starting, I would suggest definitely checking that out on our site as well. If you guys have like other ideas of like resources you guys want, we are 100% open to making anything you guys want because this platform's here for you. So definitely, again, reach out to Alexa and I, and we'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, you can do that through Twitter DM, Instagram DM. We have our email on our website. Whichever way is most convenient for you guys to spread your ideas. We want to hear them. We always tell you guys in every podcast to share your experiences or give us suggestions. And we want you to remember that this is a resource for you guys. All this content that we're putting out is to help everyone around us and everyone who's following Mindful Me and everyone in the Mindful Me community and people who just want to focus on their mental health and their mindfulness. So don't be afraid to shoot us a DM, or even if you know us in person and you see us and you want to tell us something, we're always open to suggestions and we want to hear them, and we need ideas for podcasts from you guys. So John's right. Just anything you guys can think of, shoot them over and we'll definitely incorporate them.
Yeah. One thing that I think is like an interesting takeaway, at least from this year per se, is I've had a much larger appreciation. I know we're kind of getting off the subject of uncertainty, but I think I had a much larger appreciation for like the sense of time because we had so much time and we didn't know what to do with it. And now I feel like as the year is ending, we don't have enough time all of a sudden to get everything that we wanted done, which is just like kind of the irony of life. But I think not unless you step back and reflect can we really see that and learn from like this year and see how we can apply it to next year and so forth and so on. And I just think that's something that'll help with uncertainty as a whole is once we can reflect and learn, that's the most, at least I think I could ever ask of myself and my friends is just like, once we learn from our, not necessarily mistakes, but just our past, I think we could always make the next year better.
Yeah, I think that that's a good point and a positive point. So yeah, I'd agree with that.
For sure. So I wanted to thank all of you guys for listening this week. I know it was a untraditional episode, but I feel like all of our episodes are now becoming a little untraditional because that's just the fun of Align Your Mind. But we're really excited with the things we're doing with Mindful Me, and we really want you guys to not only be part of it, but kind of help us create that story because this is your platform, and you guys should be able to do whatever you guys want with it. For those of you that are listening now, we have the 3 podcast series. This one, Align Your Mind with Jonathan and Alexa, you obviously know. And then Need to Heed with Fernando and Jake. And to me, that spin is just so interesting because they're different than Alexa and I, and there's no doubt about it. So it's always interesting hearing their perspectives and their back and forth. And then one that I also listen to is, of course, Mind Watch with Daniel and Thomas. And that one, I feel like they dive a lot deeper than Alexa, myself, and Fernando and Jake do. So I definitely think you guys should give that a listen. Just because if you're only listening to ours, well, thank you for listening. But I think if you guys listen to those, you'll gain another perspective. And I know I've been taking some more time to listen to those a little bit more in depth. Usually I listen in my car, but now I have a little speaker in my room and I started listening there. So I think once you really dive into those episodes, you'll gain a pretty good understanding of like maybe the same topic a few different ways, but we're always learning and we're ever growing, as we like to say. So definitely take a listen to those. On the meditation standpoint, Alexa said we post meditations every week. We just had a fun Halloween meditation go up. We have our Monday meditations. So overall, that's all really just fun stuff to get into. But on the standpoint of school tools, we're excited. We're expanding really quickly. We have a lot of teachers tuning in, so we're excited to see that impact grow. But again, this is your guys' platform, so if you ever want to do anything, just let us know.
Yeah, I think that concludes our podcast. And again, one of the biggest takeaways from this one, I know we've said it a billion times, but DM us, ask us questions, whatever you can do, post about it, whatever you can do, we always respond. We always take the time to incorporate your ideas. So just remember in the stressful time to meditate, go for walks, plan your schedule, whatever it is, and think about how else Mindful Me can help you and let us know.
Yep. And remember, all of our podcasts are on Google Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts, I'm forgetting it already, Apple Podcasts, Zencast, radio.com now. There's just so many. We're on RSS feed, and you guys should definitely share it with as many people as you want, and share it with your families. And we post everything there. We post our meditations, podcasts, school tools. You get it all. We try to be as accessible as possible. And of course, we post a podcast every Thursday. Next week will be Mind Watch with Dan and Thomas. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We'll have a meditation on Monday, a weekly inspirational newsletter on Sunday. And thank you for listening to Align Your Mind with Jonathan and Alexa. Remember, whatever the mind can believe and achieve, it can conceive. Thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you in a few weeks.